Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan Chat. Just had to remember the name of the new channel there. How you doing? Hi, a couple of people on already. Quite pleased. I tried this 2 o'clock kick-off today because I've got to go out about 2:45, 2:50, something about 2:50, something like that. So I thought I'll do this, and then I've got to pick my kids up from school. So I might not have been around for something like a 4 o'clock. I got my kids is doing some athletics. Is a meeting today, so he's going to be back home, back at the school at 4. So I didn't think I'd be around, and then I've got to look after my kids in the evening. So, is there any questions? I mean, I've got a little bit of an agenda for today. There's a few of you on. I'll tell you what the agenda is. It'd be nice if someone talks to me. The agenda, we've got William Saliba. So that's a transfer tag, potential transfer. William Saliba. Want to talk about Bernardo Silva and his performance yesterday in the Nations League final. And a quick chat about Pep, very brief. And then your questions and answers. But I need some questions, and I need more than 1 or 2 people on before I can get into this. Maybe it's a bad time. And we'll find out if it's a bad time to get people on. Just check on my phone, see if there is anybody coming on. Just one guy on. Nobody. Everybody's gone. This could be a short live stream. Could be the shortest of the shortest live streams with no questions, nobody to talk to. Try and do it. Kid have a little time, but let's see if anybody comes on. It's 2 o'clock. Could be a bad time, people still at university, work, and etc. But even if it's only 1 or 2 of you, I'm quite happy to have a chat. But it's the quietest live chat ever. Couple of people on, but no hellos, no big shout outs yet. 3 people. Back down to 1. Basically, it's just going to be me counting the numbers. How many people we've got and how many people are left. So it keeps nipping up to 2 and 3, and then back down to 1. I might end up doing a live stream of whatever I was going to talk about today anyway, and put that out as a video. Might be the way to go. Couple of people on. Nat going down. I'll give you 1 more minute before I pack it in. There's some good stuff to talk about today as well. Everybody's gone. 1 person back. Hey, True City fan, you're the only person who's been on in 4 minutes. Might be a short live stream today, buddy. Might be a very short live stream. I might knock it on the head and put out a normal video, normal short video today instead. There's 3 people on. If I can get another person talking to me, we'll go for it. Yeah, start slow. Yeah, it's a new channel, mate. It's an unusual time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. People in England, especially, most of them will be at school or at work or at uni or whatever. People haven't got the time at this time of the day. Something like a 4:30, you get more people finishing work and college and whatever. So, well, as I said before, I think we'll just suck it and see what time works for people, what's a good time, what's not, and we'll get the content out there eventually. But just for you, I'll talk about Harry Maguire briefly, and in amongst the Harry Maguire, I'll talk about a kid. I mean, I'll probably do another live stream or another video later. But there's a kid I want to talk about, William Saliba. Now, William Saliba, he's only 18 years old. 7 p.m. is better. Yeah. We'll see. Thing is, I know tonight my wife's going to the station. I might be able to do 7 p.m. I'll just see. I might do something else later and then see, do I get enough people? Because, I've only got, I think, 130 subscribers so far. So there's not enough groundswell there of subscribers to be able to talk that much. Well, I've got 6 people on now, so it's as nearly as, yesterday I think I got to about 10. So let's start off by talking about William Saliba, because William Saliba is a centre-back and he's 18 years old, playing for Saint Etienne, and last season was his breakthrough season. And the reason I'm mentioning him, I mean, besides the fact he's pretty much a Kyle Walker lookalike, apparently the Manchester Evening News are reporting that his agent has been spotted in Manchester. Now, City need a new fullback. United might need I think they need a new centre-back, sorry. City need a new centre-back, obviously with Vincent Kompany leaving. And we're not sure what's going to happen with Nicholas Otamendi. Stones in not looking in the best of form. And, in terms of our replacements, coming through the system, we've got Eric Garcia, possibly Philippe Sandler, who we bought from PEC Zwolle in Holland. He used to play, Philippe Sandler used to play for Ajax, but we're not sure, he was in the first team training last season, but we're not sure what he's going to do this season, whether he's going to go as defensive midfielder, centre-back, whether he's going to go out on loan. Got no news on him yet. So, who else are we looking at though? And the 2 names that pop up are Matthijs de Ligt and Harry Maguire. Now, I think we all know, what these guys do. We've seen them play. Matthijs de Ligt looks class, 19 years old, and generally he's been looked very, very good when I've seen him play for Ajax and for Holland. We'll get onto his game last night, maybe this evening if I do another live stream. But Matthijs de Ligt, I think, is a quality player. Now, the other name that's been linked with City as a centre-back is Harry Maguire. Now, the funny thing is, I think personally, Matthijs de Ligt has got more potential than Harry Maguire. I think he's as good as, or if not better, at least as good as Harry Maguire, or you can argue better than Harry Maguire already, and he's much, much younger. De Ligt, true City fan. The problem with De Ligt, the funny thing is his transfer fees rumoured to be 70 or 80 million euros, whereas Harry Maguire is rumoured to be 80 million quid. And to be honest, I don't think the money is the issue on the transfer fee. I think the fact that we have to deal with Mino Raiola, I don't think City want to deal with him. They would avoid him if they can, and he wants his cut. And if he wants another 15 or 20 million euros, well then, the price of Harry Maguire and Matthijs de Ligt will be roughly similar. So which one would you go for? I mean, true City fan, you're saying that 285 grand a week. I think that's definitely going to be an issue. I really don't see City paying that, because it would mess up their wage structure. You've got the top earners like Kevin De Bruyne. If you think Kevin De Bruyne, for argument's sake, is on 250 grand a week plus bonuses, you had someone like Leroy Sané on 60 grand a week. So there is a big disparity between new players coming in and established stars. So when we got Leroy Sané, we had him on 60 grand a week. Would we have Matthijs de Ligt at 60 grand a week? He's done a lot more than Sané already. So I don't think that's appropriate to have him on only 60 grand a week. 285 though, it is very expensive, but that's obviously due to Mina Raiola, his agent, who's going to be pushing for the maximum amount of money for his client and thereby getting the maximum amount of money for himself. So, he might push him towards United, but that'd be an absolutely daft thing to do. So then we look at Harry Maguire. Now, Harry Maguire, we've seen him play in the World Cup for England last season, in the Nations League as well. And he's, a pretty decent player, well for Leicester. If we were to get him now, would you see him as lining up with Laporte or instead of Laporte? Now, I can't see Pep ever letting Laporte go because he was basically our number one centre-back throughout last season. Is Harry Maguire just a reserve? Because I think he's played as the left side of centre-back. And I initially thought that's what we wanted, a left side of centre-back. If Otamendi stays or goes, we just don't know yet. And I think Otamendi, excuse me, if City offer him the right deal, I think he'll stay. But he, just because company's gone and Otamendi will probably get a lot more game time. Hi, CD, how you doing, buddy? So would Otamendi stay? It depends. If someone comes in and offers him a really good, lucrative 3 or 4 year contract, I can see Otamendi leaving for the money, rather than staying with City and being a bit part player and winning trophies. But if someone offers him a lot more money, I can see him leaving. So Maguire, would we get him? As I said, he's a decent player. Garcia, Maguire, Stones, and Laporte, all, yeah. We could go forward with those 4. I mean, when we've seen Eric Garcia play, and when we saw him in America last summer, he was only 17, I think, and Pep said he's like he's 24, 25 years old. He had that much composure, maturity, confidence, and it was like he could anticipate danger. He knew where the ball was going. He knew what was happening, and I think it just looked like he's going to be a star. I don't think he's only 18. Maybe I'm being a little bit greedy. I would have liked him to have progressed a little bit more from what I've seen, but he's still probably one of the best players in the EDS squad. So he's coming through. We can have a lot of people. Possibly. We've got Fernandinho that can play at centre back. But we have to get at least one. Yep, true City fan. So what you're saying is Garcia could be the same as De Ligt if he was playing for first team football. He needs that first team football. What's with the new channel? Man and Mushroom. Well, what's happened is, I'll get onto this after we finish with Harry Maguire then. Harry Maguire, we need a centre back. I want the deal done soon. As I said, I think yesterday, we won't see anything with especially with the Portuguese players, the English players, the Dutch players, and even the Swiss players until after the Nations League. You're not going to hear things like, obviously Eden Hazard signed for Real Madrid. Well, Eden Hazard's not playing. He's free to come and go. So I think with the players who are playing in internationals, they, especially this an important one like the Nations League, I think they had to do all that first. So I'll get on to Man Emotions question. What's with the new channel? Well, just get my seat up, have a quick swig of coffee. Well, you might have, if you've been following Twitter over the weekend, you might have seen some tweets from Rabin. Now, Rabin is an anonymous Twitter user, pretty much anonymous. And over the last month or two, he's been outing some journalists, basically. So he's been highlighting the hypocrisy of certain journalists like Barney. I think he tore him to pieces, left him on his backside. And others he's had a go at Rob Harris, Nick Harris, Delaney, and a couple of others as well, I believe. And what he's highlighting is their hypocrisy, and where, for argument's sake, and I've said this before, but maybe not as eloquently as he has, you've got journalists out there having a pop at City fans, for what goes on in Abu Dhabi and the alleged human rights, or you can say whether you say alleged or not, the human rights issues over there. And they say that City is, Man City are sports washing, and that the fans of the club should be more outspoken and say more, not supporting City. You had Matthew Side that called us sewer rats or something. Some disgusting language from some of the journalists, and with their criticisms of City and City fans. Really had it with the Matthew Hedges case, the guy who was arrested for alleged spying over in the United Arab Emirates. And City fans were lumped in with this, and we should have been against our owners because of what our own, we're sports fans, we're footy fans, and we're interested in our football team. I've been supporting Man City since the early 70s, about 73, 74. And I'm not suddenly going to stop supporting my team because, it's in my heart. It's my club. It's, figuratively, I bleed blue. So, like many of you guys. So, we're not going to field issues. They can't beat City on the pitch, so they have a go at the empty had. They have a go at the fans, the players singing a song about Liverpool players and stuff, and fans and whatever, and the Kiev, that Ale 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 song. And they have a pop about financial fair play, human rights, anything they can. They think they can try to discredit City, they will. And we don't know. Rabin asked some of the questions like, well, who's paying you? The guys who are working for the Independent. Well, the Independent, two of the biggest shareholders, I think you got one Russian guy and one guy from Saudi Arabia. Well, the war in Yemen, for instance, is, it's been led by Saudi Arabia. So, they haven't got the best human rights issue as well. Kat's a guy also. Yeah, exactly, true City fan. So there's so many of them, so much going on. There's so much hypocrisy. And just basic lies as well, and what a lot of the journalists do, if they think they've got an easy win, if someone's abusive to them, they can just say, hey, look, this is what fans are like, they're abusive to me, or a fan has come in and said something that's stupid, or their argument's got a hole in it. They're going to look for that, okay? When you get someone who's a little bit more eloquent, someone who's got a good point and debates it politely, a lot of the journalists can't handle that. And they, I've had it a couple of times where they end up blocking you, and have a pop at me. Barry Glendenning have a pop at me because I criticised him for the organisation he worked for. He did some, obviously does some work on TalkSport, and I was having a go at was it News International, the people who own the Sunday News of the World, and I said something about them hacking the phone of a dead girl, and probably asked him if he was proud or did he have any comment, and he didn't say anything. And he thought he could have a go at me by talking about Sky. So he said, so you have a Sky subscription. So he was going to use that as the link to discredit me. Didn't answer the question, but he wanted to discredit me. I said, no, I don't. He said, well, you must watch Sky then. I said, no, I don't. Okay. So he didn't have anything to say. So what these journalists and others do, if they can't attack the message, they attack the messenger. So they couldn't really debate and rebuff Rabin's questions and allegations. So they either ignored them or they wanted to find an angle to have a go at the man himself. So Andy from the old channel, Man City Fan TV, he had a chat with Rabin and he recorded it. Now, he started recording without Rabin's permission. Rabin, and I didn't know, and I don't know, what messages had gone between the two of them before they had this call. So I knew they were going to have a chat, and that's all I knew about it. I think I was out on Saturday, and so they had the chat. Andy Scat recorded it, and the issue subsequently, Rabin put some tweets out and said he wasn't happy that it had been recorded. Now, subsequently, Andy's put a video out to say, look, this is what transpired, without releasing anything on his details or any part of the video. Andy put a video out last night because there's a lot of stuff going on Twitter, and Andy put a video out last night to say, look, this is what happened, kind of what was said, and to try and support his argument that he'd done nothing wrong. Rabin, so basically each side wasn't happy. And at the same time, due to some of this and some differences I had with what Andy had done and what I thought he was going to do, I decided the best option for me was to leave the channel. I didn't want to be associated with what was going on, so I decided to leave. So I've not really said anything that's not already in the public domain. Andy said a lot on his video yesterday, and so that's where we are. That was my choice, and over a year's hard work, 8,500 subscribers, and you walk away from all that, okay? Just when the channel's getting traction, and we've got a good thing going with the live streams and everything else, and we focused on content where other channels, because we've not been monetized, they've been focused on making money. How can we make money? Whether it's some channels do it by controversy, some channels do that just because they've got a lot of numbers, subscribers for whatever reason. I mean, people must like what they've done, so they put out content that isn't credible. They put out content because they know, hey, I put a video out, I'll get 10,000 views, so I'll put anything out just to get those 10,000 views, and I'll make a few quid off YouTube. So that's other people's choice. That's what they do, and they're entitled to do that. So the channel was doing pretty well, but I decided to walk away because I didn't want to be part of what had happened. And what subsequently happened is that Rabin he said he felt threatened, and he was being threatened in messages. Andy's called him out, and we are where we are at opposite ends of the spectrum. And amongst all that, you had one of the journalists, Nick Harris from Sporting Intelligence. Don't particularly like him. He just comes across as quite smug without any good reason. Cheers, man, emotion. Thanks very much. So Nick Harris came along and said, and used the video that Andy had done last night to really lay into Rabin, call him all sorts, and said this was evidence or vindicated or whatever. It was clear that from the video that Andy had done, that he just Rabin, called him a show, called him I can't even say the word. Say the word duplicitous, or forget it. But he called him some names on Twitter, and so it wasn't particularly nice. And the thing was, I didn't want to get involved because I don't want to fan the flames. I was worried that it could get out of hand, and it was getting out of hand with what Nick Harris was doing. And so, as I said, I didn't want to get involved in all that. So Nick Harris did what he did. He was fanning the flames and using this video as a way to beat Rabin. And I think Rabin had already said he's not going to come back to Twitter. So he'd done his goodbyes. He wants to look after his family and whatever. And so Nick Harris basically had gone on the video that Andy had done and accepted Andy's word. I'm not saying Andy said anything incorrect, but what I'm saying is, as a journalist, you'd want to corroborate your story. You want to back up what someone's told you. If someone told you out of hearsay because they've had an argument with somebody, do you believe them just like that? I mean, that's something that you'd expect the Sun to do. Do you just go with what they've said? Or do you turn around and say, I want to corroborate that, I want more evidence, I want more proof before I commit to saying anything? Now, Nick just jumped in because he thought, here it is, I've got something on Rabin, I'm going to bash him, I'm going to smack him around. And he tried to do that. He tried to get his cronies in, like Duncan Castles and Rob Harris and Delaney and others. He tried to get them involved, and none of them actually got involved. You could argue it's too late for them or whatever, or they didn't want to get involved until it became a little bit clearer, because maybe they were a little bit more clued up than poor old Nick was, because Nick went in feet first with both feet. So that's where we were. And then Nick went even further. in a message he said, sent on Twitter, he said to Andy, thanks for the DM of the video, something like that. I've watched it. I mean, I've got it on my phone. Let's have a quick look if I've got it on my phone. And I'll quickly see if I can read a little bit. It's not on my phone. Let's see if I've got pictures. I'm still here. Looks like we had a problem with the connection there, guys. Looks like I lost a lot of you. That's a bummer. I was just getting into my stride. I'll finish off what I was going to say and see if I can salvage this video for later. So sorry, guys, about that. I don't know what's happened with the Wi-Fi in the house. Got fast fiber broadband. Well, can't trust what BT and anybody else tells you. So yeah, what Nick Harris did, he went one step further and he went too far. He sent a tweet and he said, basically, thanks, Andy, for the DMs. I've seen the video and I can, agree that what Rabin, he wasn't specific. He left it quite vague. And he said, it backs up your arguments about Rabin, blah, blah, blah. So he basically said he got the video of the chat Andy had with Rabin, and it shows that Rabin's a liar. Now, I don't think Andy would send that. And subsequent conversation, you send a DM with the information that to prove that I've sent you this video, and then we'll see. Let's look, and that's cleared you. Otherwise, I'm taking you to court. So that's where we are. Whether it goes there, or, what's going to happen now, I've absolutely no idea. Whether Rabin, I don't think Rabin will be back as Rabin. He might be back as somebody else, but I think people will be on the lookout for him. And anybody who comes along in the near future who hasn't had much of a history on Twitter and starts commenting and eruditely or also eloquently and put their arguments the way Rabin did, everybody will say it's Rabin and he's back. As I said, the journalists wanted to discredit him because they couldn't beat him. He couldn't knock his arguments back. They couldn't respond to them. And I think journalists are very careful about what they do and what they say and how they belittle and mock genuine football fans for just supporting their club. Guys, I know we've had problems with the stream. I apologise for that. And hopefully it'll get better. One issue is I've got to use a laptop for the stream, so I've got to rely on the Wi-Fi staying strong. When I get to 1,000 subscribers on the channel, then I can do it on my phone, and I'll have the 4G working and the Wi-Fi. So I've got I think it'll be more reliable when I'm working on the mobile. So guys, if you haven't subscribed, it'd be great if you could subscribe. I have the opportunity to do live streams on my phone, so when I'm out and about, I can do those live streams. I don't have to be sat at a desk or a table with my laptop, and just gives me flexibility, especially in the summer when we're on holidays and stuff. So guys, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you like this short live stream, and tell your mates, subscribe to the channel. It's the only way it's going to grow is if you guys subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. See you around, Blues. Gobby, it's not Andy, it's Ray. Fingers crossed it's working now. I don't know why it doesn't want to close down, but it's not let me close the stream. Gonna have to